Meili always loved art. However, due to the lack of encouragement and motivation, she dropped out of art school to pursue other things. Now, she's back and hasn't stopped creating pretty much every day for the past 5 years. Join us today as we talk about how to find inspiration for your art, getting over the comparison anxiety, and overcoming the ugly stage in the painting. Want to be part of the show? Then send in your questions or topics you'd like to see covered to our email at hello@etralab.com. If you send us an audio recording, we might include it in the episode. Hi, I'm Anya, and this is Make More Art, a podcast by Etra, meant to inspire you to keep on creating. Now let's hear from our guest. The first question that I have for you is, can you take us all the way back to when you first fell in love with art? How old were you and why art?
Okay, so I had to go back before the podcast to actually remind myself, because it was quite a long time ago. Like many artists, I'm going to say that I've been drawing my whole life. Basically, I've been drawing during my childhood quite a lot. And I was talking about it about a few days ago, and I actually started with a lot of Lion King fan arts when I was in primary school. Yeah, I used to draw Disney characters so much, and this is how I practiced. So yeah, I have been drawing since I guess I could hold a pen. So I went to art school. After I graduated from high school here in France, I went to an art school because I was really interested in art, and I thought this would be like a good career for me. But it was not really the art school that was a good fit for me. So I really enjoyed the first years, but then it was really not about drawing, but more about, conceptual stuff and multimedia things. There are so many lessons and subject matters that were really interesting, but the drawing was really put aside, and it kind of made me give up about drawing. I didn't feel encouraged in this way, so I kind of stopped drawing after art school, actually. And the thing is, I didn't feel like I belonged here, so I decided to drop out just before getting my degree, because I knew the degree didn't have I don't know if it's everywhere I don't know if it's the same in every country, but in France, an art degree doesn't have too much value. Your work will be way more important than your degree. Exactly. So I knew it wasn't that important, so I decided to give up. And the thing is, I decided to learn 3D modeling by myself, so something still artsy but quite different. For about 5 to 6 years, I almost didn't draw, and I was only working in 3D as a freelancer.
Wow.
And I was self-taught about it. And after 6 years, I realized that I was missing drawing so much, so I decided to go back to it. And this is bringing us to about 2016. This is where I started drawing every day and taking it very seriously, getting back into a lot of online resources, tutorials, and things like this. And
like 5 years ago?
Yeah, 5 years ago, about something like this. Yeah. And I got really, really into it. I was absorbing so many knowledge about it, trying to catch up everything I missed. And now this is where I am. I'm still learning.
What was the trigger that made you just get back to art making?
I think at some point I realized that I was actually able to learn 3D on my own in a very short time. And I always thought 3D modeling was not something for me. And then I realized it was only a matter of work. And then I thought, okay, I could have invested that much time into drawing and get really good into drawing as well, because I did it for 3D. So why not get back to drawing and take it as seriously as I did for my 3D career? So I guess I was just getting bored of it, and I was missing, the physical drawing aspect, because I'm using mostly traditional tools. I do a bit of digital, but when it comes to drawing, I'm using a lot traditional art, and I was really missing the physical aspect of it, holding brushes, pencils, the paper, or the smells. I don't know. I just love traditional art so much.
And that's very interesting that you say that, because correct me if I'm wrong, but you have a very rich art career path because you've tried so many things in terms of materials and in terms of styles, and I would love to talk more about that. But related to what you just said, it looks like you went through a stage of digital painting, you got out of it, and then you dived back into it again a little bit more deeply, right?
Yeah.
So tell me about that.
I think I did a bit of digital during art school, and then whenever I was working in 3D, I would try digital art. But at some point, I felt like I was really limited by my skills, and I decided to get back to the fundamentals of drawing, which involves actually, in my case, it involved getting back to traditional. So I went back to traditional, and now once in a while I'm doing digital art, even though it's not my favorite medium, but it's still very practical in many. Yeah.
For you, the contact with the art materials, like the physical contact, is what keeps you interested in wanting to dive deeper and deeper. Okay, that makes sense.
Definitely. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. Okay, so you start taking art seriously 5 years ago, 2016. And you're a superstar today. So how did this happen? What do you...
The thing is about, in 2016, I gave myself the challenge to draw every single day of my life. And at the same time, I decided to start posting on Instagram every day. So I get more and more people were interested in seeing my progress, and my drawings were getting better over months. So I guess it kind of snowballed. And I think I really hit the point. I'm not sure what year it was. It was maybe in 2018. At some point, I switched my subject matter and I started drawing a lot of faces because I wanted to get better with faces. And this got really, really popular. And this is where I got the most crowd on Instagram, because I was drawing so many faces with mixed media.
So you changed the subject of your art depending on what you wanted to improve on.
Yeah, exactly. And this is mostly what I'm doing on Instagram. I'm not really posting like freelance work or commission work, but more like my exercises, my self practice. So this is why I'm showing so many sketchbooks, and it is so diverse, because I'm still exploring so many things and trying to improve in many fields at the same time.
I love it. So instead of worrying, and I had a podcast interview last week with Hannah Macha, and that will be out after your interview, actually. And she's a social media manager and consultant. And we were talking about how important it is for you to create things that speak to you instead of being worrying about what is trending on social media and such, and how important that is to keep the fire within, like the art fire, alive and burning and such. So it's really interesting to me to see that's how you approach art making as well. And like the commission work that you get, so is it usually stuff that you love doing because people see what you do and it's along that, or is it completely different from what you usually post?
It's usually pretty close to what I'm doing, like on my Instagram things, and it's still very punctual. It's like once every few months. It's not like I get commissions very often, so it still goes along with the rest. Very often it will be digital art, because usually it's a bit easier to work with. It's more flexible and faster in general. So when you see digital art on my feed, it's usually commissioned work, because
you have to change it according to the taste of the customer, while when you're doing it for yourself, you do what you want and you don't have to change it to fit any. Okay, that does make sense.
Exactly.
So now, can you tell us a little bit about your preferred? Let's start with medium first, because there's so much to explore about the subject. So what medium do you love most?
This is going to be a hard one, because as you can see, I'm using so many of them.
Who is your favorite child?
Oh my God, I can't say it. Okay, let me think. I think lately it's been really watercolors and gouache.
Okay.
And lately acrylic gouache, which is the paint I'm using the most lately, but it's right in between acrylic gouache and watercolors. So it's like a mix of everything that's good in the other materials. So definitely those paints, watercolor, gouache, acrylic gouache. But I love paint markers a lot. I love alcohol marker. I've been using them again lately, and I'm loving them so much. And then, well, that's probably it for now. I will occasionally switch my materials pool because I will get bored after a while. So I like to change material to keep the flame burning and really stay interested.
Tip. And how do you decide? I know that you said that usually you draw what you want to get better at, but how do you make that decision? And for how long do you stick with it?
Okay, interesting. Let me think about it. I think I draw what I want to improve at, but also what currently inspires me. So lately it's been like spring is all around. We see so many plants and flowers, and I've been missing them so much during the winter. So lately I'm just really into plants. So I'm really into them, and this is what will get me improving at the subject because I want to. This is the only thing I want to draw lately. So I'm only drawing plants, and this is like combining, the improvement and the pleasure of drawing a subject that I like, and it's the perfect in between for me.
That is really interesting. So it's not like you're your own like super strict mom. Like you have to get better at drawing hands. So you're gonna have to draw hands. You're like, wow, the spring is beautiful. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you really have to because I don't know, a commission or something requires you to, and it's okay. I really like it's my job. I have to be professional about it. But I love that you kind of pair what you love doing and then improve on that particular subject so that lessens fatigue and gets the motivation higher, and you're just happier overall making art. And that shows. I mean, I think doesn't matter what I think. I want to know what you think. Do you think it shows when you're happy doing a piece versus when you're doing it just for the sake of needing to get it done?
Yeah, definitely, because I don't know the way I will pick. Usually people tell me like the way I choose color makes everything very happy and joyful. And I think this is definitely what shows in my art. Like I'm so passionate about plants and flowers. I like just going outside, taking a lot of pictures, and then getting back home, painting them, and then practicing. And this is just pure joy for me. So definitely, I'm pretty sure it shows in my work. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. And it's beautiful that the more I scroll through your Instagram feed, and by the way, a link will be in the post associated with this episode, I see, well, first of all, I can tell that everything is yours because there's the same energy, even though it's different styles and different subjects. Like sometimes you have these beautiful ladies painted. Sometimes you have these super cartoony, funny looking cats. And then you change to plein air, and it's gorgeous plein air, and everything is so vibrant. Everything is so you. And when we started this call, I was commenting on your environment. So if you're listening to the audio only version, jump into YouTube to check our video interview. And like, it looks like the space that you're living in currently is an extension of your artwork or vice versa, because everything that is surrounding you is passing onto the page. So it feels like you're absorbing everything around you and use it as a visual inspiration for everything you're pouring onto the page. And I find that beautiful. So how do you do that?
I think this is interesting you're putting it this way, but because it can also be interpreted as the opposite. Like I like to fit my environment to my vibe, to my mood, to the way I draw. So it's really important for me to have like a very cozy, colorful, like you can't really see my desk. Can I show it? It's really on
Yeah.
It's like very colorful with a lot of, a lot of supplies, a lot of colorful things on the wall. And it's really important to have, to be surrounded by so many pretty colorful things. So I think it's like going back and forth, like you said, like it's like I'm absorbing my environment, but also I'm trying to project my my feelings and my passion for colorful and joyful things around me. It's really,
Yeah, it's like
something
a
like
full
this, I guess.
cycle. So you make the
Exactly.
physical inspiration, so it inspires you to create, to give you the joy to reboot that cycle
Yeah,
over and over again.
exactly. Yeah.
We were also talking about before we started this call that you did come to Portugal. I'm from Portugal, and you were in the north in Porto, and you were painting a lot of what you were seeing. And that's another interesting thing. As I scroll through your Instagram, I kind of see segments of your art. Like everything is black and white now, and I'm like, oh, that's probably Inktober. Then I keep
Yeah,
on
that was
scrolling.
Inktober.
Yeah, and then I keep on scrolling, and everything is very much purple and green, and it looks like you were going through
Yeah.
a stage there. Then I keep on scrolling,
Yeah.
and everything is more like blue and pink, or blue and
Yeah.
yellow, and like, oh man, that's another stage. Just like when you're talking about like Picasso and like the phases that they went through, I kind of see the same going with you. So, am I reading this
it's like,
accurately? Yeah.
yeah, it's like I really fall in love with a subject matter and a set of material for a short period of time. So I will really dive very deeply into it, like very intensely, and then at some point I will feel the need to move away from it and just try something new. So I will switch my materials and subject matter, and then improve on something else and practice and have fun.
Would that be your number one tip to get inspired and stay motivated to keep making art?
Probably. It's hard to.
If you have other tips to get ourselves inspired into art making, we're all ears for that. Please do share.
I think personally, looking at my surroundings is something that's really inspiring me. So this is what's happening like with plants and flowers, because I just love going out and looking around me. And then whenever I go out, it can be in the nature or even in the city, I just can't help looking around me with like child's eyes. And so I have like a really strong passion for houses as well. So I just love just going around and just look at everything and absorb everything. So I don't know if it is something that I can communicate to someone, but it's really about being aware of the surroundings and your environment, and then absorb everything, and then feel inspired to create something for yourself. But of course, there are like very more common tips that I also use, which are like browsing a lot of Pinterest and seeing a lot of other artist works. Like I get a lot of fuel from looking at beautiful art as well. So it's something that's definitely helping.
How does that not intimidate you, or did it used to intimidate you in the past?
It does, like anyone else, I think. I don't think you can't really get over this, even though everyone keeps telling you, like, don't compare yourself. And I think it can be really unhealthy, but it's something that will happen. You will be overwhelmed by the amount of beautiful images and talent that you see around the web. It's something very normal. And sometimes it's a bit easier to move on if you just acknowledge it. Like you say, okay, I'm comparing myself, and I see that I will never be as good as this person. But at the same time, there are people that I can look up to, and I can get so much inspiration from them at the same time. So it's really finding the right balance between, inspiration and not stab yourself and, feel overwhelmed. So
yeah,
take them as inspiration instead of competition. But easier said than done, of course.
Yeah. Do you remember a time where you were feeling overwhelmed or anxious and second guessing your abilities? The imposter syndrome. How did you get past that?
I didn't. So this is one reason why. This is the main reason why I keep practicing so much. I keep watching online classes, tutorials, gathering resources, and I keep improving, because I know now from my past experience that if I keep practicing, I will get there. I am confident in my ability to get better. So I know I can just absorb and try to improve and practice, and I know I can. And maybe I will never get as good as my favorite artist, but I know I can get better for sure, because I've experienced it in the past. So it's more like I'm more confident than I used to be. Because before I felt like at some point in my life, I felt like I didn't have like any talent, and I will never be good at drawing, especially faces. I really had a very big things with faces because it is a very difficult subject, and I felt very, disappointed about my abilities to draw, and I felt like I didn't have the thing that people need to be good at drawing faces, which it's silly now when you think about it. It was just a matter of practice, and my experience proved it. So now I know I'm more confident that I can choose a subject and just practice, watch tutorials, lessons, and get better. It's just a matter of time. So we have, even though we have like a limited amount of time, so this is more about this now.
Yeah, I love that you said that. I read somewhere, I think it was Seth Godin's blog. He was talking about how if something is a skill, it's good news because a definition of skill is something that you can learn. So
exactly,
if drawing faces is a skill and you don't know how to do it, there you go. You can
just learn.
And you did it and you're amazing at it.
Yeah.
So
thank you. Yeah, it was really a challenge. Like getting good at faces, I think it was my main goal at the beginning, because this is the thing that made me give up art at some point. Like I was trying to draw people and it wasn't working. Like my faces looked, I don't know, awkward and not very communicative, not showing a lot of emotions. And I felt like, okay, maybe this is not my thing. Okay, let me put this aside and forget about it. And then, no, okay, I'm going back to it and I'm trying very hard. And it paid off. So
it did. And it's really important. What you just said is really important. I was talking to a colleague of mine from work this morning in our team meeting, and they're about to become a parent, and we're having a conversation about, so when you have a kid and you want them to learn a certain skill, there comes a time when you're learning any skill that you're on the verge of getting much better at it, and you're really stressed at that point until you kind of close that gap, right? And that's when most people give up. So and we were talking about and we were talking about children specifically, but for the sake of this interview, we're talking about adults now wanting to get into art making. So what can we do to close that gap, to stop us from completely abandoning something? Any thoughts on that? Yeah, how can we do that?
Well, I guess listening to other artists can be a good thing, because some people have the experience and have passed this wall, and they will give you a boost, a confidence boost in not giving up and just keep going. It's like in painting, there is often this ugly stage of painting. I don't know if you experience it. Like at some point in the middle of the painting, it looks really bad, and this is most of the time. Even myself, I feel like giving up at this stage. But I know by experience that this is the stage I have to hold on and get through it, because it will get better right after it. And if it is your first time, you will probably give up. But once you have experienced several times where it worked out well, you can be confident and just try harder. So I think maybe do it once, and then you will maybe gain the confidence at getting better, and you will know that this wall is just the latest stair.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
stairs. Yeah,
it's a good thing if you're getting into that spot. If you're challenging yourself, you will put yourself in that position, and it's a symptom of growth. And
yeah, exactly.
If you fail, it means that you found a way that you can not, here's a way of how not to do it. So let's try something else and see what works.
Exactly.
So maybe it's also looking at failure as finding your direction instead of finding a dead end, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah, this is, I used to think about this very actively. And at some point, I reminded myself that if you're struggling so much at learning something, it's either that you're using the wrong method, or either that you're learning a lot. This is usually when you're having so much time and when you're struggling so much, it is when you are learning the most. So when you keep reminding yourself, when these hard times will be a bit easier to go through, because it's part of the job and it will get better. And it is important to go through it and not give up. it's just a constant battle.
It is.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not something that, oh, I got it. I got that totally under control. No, it's like, oh, I got
it's not going to be fun. Yeah.
Totally like, I'm trying to keep the balance. I'm trying to, whoa, okay, I'm okay.
Yeah. I'm okay. I'm learning. Yeah. I would really happy to say that art is only fun and playing and stuff like that, but it is actually a very strong, like a huge psychological battle within yourself, and you have to learn to tame yourself. That will be, the part of your brain that will keep telling you that you'll never be good at this, or just give up, or this is not your thing, and you have to get used to it, to say, okay, I hear you, but let me keep trying, and I will probably get better. So yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. One question that I've been meaning to ask you since the beginning of this call. Were you ever afraid of changing subjects and mediums on social media? Because some people, I think you got the question. Go ahead.
Yeah, most definitely. Like I said, when I started drawing faces and posting them every day, especially that 100 faces challenge that I did, I think it was 2 years ago already, but it got so popular, and this is why I gained the most following on social media, and especially on Instagram. This is where I hit like maybe 50K or something like this in a very short period of time. But the thing is, I absolutely knew that I wouldn't be drawing faces the whole time. I love all kinds of subjects, and I knew I would be switching. And the fact that I'm constantly switching subject matter is certainly not helping my growth. I know, like, for a year now, it has been the same. It's not moving at all, because my work is so diverse, and I know I'm not helping myself doing it, but I'd rather make something authentic than trying to please, the audience. So I'm not going to change. It's okay.
Yeah, because your Instagram is very much of a, let's go on this journey together. I'm experimenting, I'm learning, and I'm growing, and you're welcome to join me for the ride. So I think it's beautiful. It's very honest, and it's something that we definitely need in this social era where everything is just perfect everywhere, and we feel like we're lacking on all counts.
Exactly. But it is, I have to admit, it is way harder to, make a good following. I mean, my growth has certainly slowed down since I stopped drawing faces, but I'm not going to draw faces my whole life, so I just get away with it.
Yeah, for you, it's like, so what does matter to me the most? Getting a big following or doing what I love and growing as an artist?
Yeah, certainly. Doing what I love.
Great. Yeah. So you are doing a live demo with us on June 17th.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit of what you'll be doing on that day?
Oh, sure. So yeah, as we spoke about it before, I'm really into plants and flowers lately, and I've been really into painting. So we will certainly be painting a few plants, because this is what I want to talk about right now. I'm still undecided about the materials, but it will be either watercolor gouache or acrylic gouache. These are very similar. But I can show you. I have some samples here.
Please.
These are the last ones I've been doing lately. So I've been practicing a lot. And yeah, so we'll probably go over something like this. Yeah.
So we will be painting on the drawing that you will provide for us already. Yeah. So it's all about painting techniques. What I find very interesting in your approach is how vibrant you make the paintings, and they still look very real. So I'm very much looking forward to learn a little bit more about that. Yeah. So, and this goes for very different kinds of artists. So if you'd like to paint in the way that Meili paints, or if you're an urban sketcher but you're looking into learning how to give more vibrance to your paintings, then I think this is a great way to combine the knowledge into incorporate it into your own art making process. So that's going to be very, very, very interesting. Lovely.
Yeah, exactly. And I really want to focus on using mixing both opaque layers and transparency of the materials. This is something I use all the time. So we will work with a very, very opaque things, and then we'll have like some more watercolor like effects. And I like how things look together usually, having a combination of both. And this is how I approach my painting most of the time.
That's beautiful. Yeah. So combining gouache with watercolors to get both the opaqueness and the transparency, like to get the best out of the both mediums, and that's beautiful.
Yeah, and the thing is, acrylic gouache works the same way, so I will be able to, have a very diluted watercolor-like effect, and then use more paint to have more covering opacity.
So you are using acrylic gouache in this live demo, and
yes,
that is great, because you were just explaining to me a while ago how you can, if you do not have acrylic gouache, you can combine gouache and watercolor to have a similar effect, because you can get
you can use the transparency of the watercolor and the covering opaque look of the gouache. So you can pretty much get the same with acrylic gouache. No problem.
Beautiful. Okay, wonderful. Before we do wrap up, I just have one last question. So can you share with us one of the biggest frustrations you encountered while making art, in the solution that you found to overcome it? Does anything come to mind?
Well, probably we're going to get over the same topic, but usually my biggest frustration happens when I feel like my skills, my technical skills are not up to the level I want them to be, and that I can't really draw exactly what's on my mind because I get limited by my abilities. This is something I get a lot of the time. So my best solution to this is just getting back to the fundamentals, watching online classes, finding good books, and then studying the subject matter in order to be more comfortable with it.
Because I was going through your Instagram again, #stalker, and I saw a bunch of like sketches of cats, and then I saw a bunch of sketches of plants, and then I saw a painting that had a background with a lot of plants and a cat on it. And I was wondering, I think Meili was studying cat anatomy here a little bit, and then she was studying plants here a little bit, and then she was able to get this one painting together, where you had this beautiful porch with a bunch of plants and the cat sleeping on the sun.
Interesting. Okay, that's not what happened here, but now you say it kind of makes sense, because they look very connected, even though they were done at a different time. So definitely, this is how I would approach things. Usually, when it comes to drawing, like, again, characters and faces, I would struggle a lot because they are very difficult subject matter. So I would just get back to looking at a lot of people, portraits and pictures, and then draw so many of them until I'm more comfortable with it. And I'm still in the process of learning how to draw people. So this is why you will see me occasionally post some faces, portraits, and then live model sessions as well. So
Beautiful. Wow, I love that you're so transparent and honest with your process. It just takes a lot of pressure and anxiety off, I guess, for us. You're opening the path for other artists like us to feel okay doing the same thing.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't want to I know how it feels to be discouraged and frustrated with art, because I've been through it quite a lot of time and for a long period. So now if I'm able to communicate that it's not that bad and you can just get better if you get into it and keep practicing as you would practice any skill, and it will pay off. So I'm always trying to remind people this, because that's what made me click, I guess.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Any last words, any tips, any bit of advice you'd like to leave our audience with?
I don't know. Keep playing around. It's really important. Like, have fun and learn at the same time, and you'll do wonders.
How do you stay inspired? Please let us know in the comment section of the post associated with this episode at etchrlab.com/Meili. That's etchrlab.com @AtcherLab.com/MAYLEE. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, simply let us know in the comment section below. If you're enjoying the podcast, please help us keep the show alive. You can subscribe and give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts at AtcherLab.com/go/Apple. Or if you're more of a YouTube viewer, please make sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our most recent videos. Sharing is caring and every little bit helps. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Until then, let's make more art.